Thank you for joining us at this time. This is news analysis coming to you on Politics and Business TV, the top stories. Don't allow the End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest to degenerate, Adeyanju tells FCT Commissioner of Police. End Bad Governance in Nigeria, Federal Secretariat shuts in Abuja as protest begins. End bad governance in Nigeria, protests will continue except Tinubu accedes to our demands, says protesters. Details coming up shortly. Welcome back. I am Amina Idris. Now on the news. On today's matter, which is the August protests, one of the solicitors to the protesters, Deji Adeyanju, has advised the Federal Capital Territory Police Commissioner, Bennett Igwe, against allowing the protests to degenerate into violence. His advice is coming following the CP's insistence that the protesters must go inside the stadium. Addressing journalists, Adeyanju said to protesters to continue their peaceful demonstrations. Meanwhile, some of the protesters have said the protests would continue unless President Bola Tinubu meets their demands. They called on the president to do the needful and the protests will be immediately called off. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the director of mobilization Take It Back movement, Damilare Adenola, lamented that the oppression under the president's leadership had lasted too long. According to him, the various court orders restricting protesters to particular locations are an aberration. As the scheduled nationwide End Bad Governance protest begins across the country, the Federal Secretariat in Abuja has been shut. Reporters observed that the gates of the office of the head of the civil service were shut as security operatives manned the gates. Meanwhile, protesters have complied with the court order for the protests to be restricted to the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. The Eagle Square was observed to be empty as protesters at the National Stadium refused to enter the main bowl of the stadium for their protests. And now the protesters have said the protests would continue unless President Bola Tinubu meets their demands. They called on the president to do the needful and the protests will be immediately called off. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the director of mobilization Take It Back movement, Damilare Adenola, lamented that the operation under the president's leadership had lasted too long. One of the leaders of the Take It Back movement, Ayola Babalola, said the show of force around the premises of the Moshood Abiola is an embarrassment to the nation. He vowed that the protesters would not be intimidated. This is news analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, Middle Belt groups want restructuring before 2027. Details of this and more after the break. The coalition of the indigenous Middle Belt organization is mobilizing stakeholders to demand for the participation of the Middle Belt indigenous ethnic nationalities as equal partners in the Nigerian Federation. Its chairman, Mr. Timothy Gandu, stated this in a statement in Abuja on Wednesday to announce the organization's National Delegates Conference scheduled for August 9 to 10, 2024 in Kaduna. He explained that the conference with the theme restructuring and enactment of the People's Constitution, panacea to peace and good growth of the nation, would discuss and consolidate their demands for participation. He said that CIMBO was established in 2023 following a call by the Coalition of Indigenous Ethnic Nationalities in Nigeria for indigenous ethnic nationalities across the country to come up with their position on restructuring. Protesters at the Eagle Square shouted down the Minister of State for Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, who arrived at the Eagle Square in Abuja to address the protesters. As the minister tried to address the crowd, the protesters continued to chant "Hunger Day," preventing the minister from speaking. However, he said after quelling the crowd, the minister said he wasn't attempting to shut down the protest, describing himself as a comrade who has attended between 100 and 500 protests. The minister also assured that he would address the police regarding the shooting of canisters against the protesters. Meanwhile, protesters have insisted they would not join the others at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, noting that a few days ago, a parallel protest had been held without interference by the police. And now banks, petrol stations and major business premises in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital and its environs, closed shops due to the anticipated nationwide protest against economic hardship. As of 9 a.m. on Thursday, there was no sign of protest anywhere in the metropolis, as many residents, including civil servants, remained at home to observe the situation. Many of the operators are scared of being attacked or their businesses destroyed by angry protesters like it was during the End SARS protests. There are very few vehicular movements, mainly commercial, were seen on the road. Even as people were seen trekking to their destination. The entire stretch of Elakehia to Garrison through to the busy Aba Road down to Azikiwe Road past Gove House, Port Harcourt, witnessed very few vehicular movements. It has been reported that the same situation applies at Agre Road down to the Borikiri axis of the Port Harcourt township, where major businesses, including fuel stations, remain closed. However, at the Central Bank of Nigeria, located behind Azikiwe Road in Port Harcourt, work was going on but under tight security as policemen and soldiers guarded the facility. Still, you are watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Joining us after the break are our correspondents across the country who will be updating us on the happenings within and around their environs on the August 1st protest that began today. We will be back. The lead security agency have held their positions as the former insisted on a street procession while the latter maintained its stance of having the protest confined to designated spots. Fully armed officers and men of the Nigerian police on Thursday fired tear gas canisters at a handful of peaceful protests around the outer cordon of the Eagle Square in the three armed zones, Abuja. The Three Arms Zone, where the Eagle Square is located, is the seat of power as it houses the Presidential Villa, National Assembly and the Supreme Court, as well as the Federal Secretariat and Head of Service. Then the protesters, who had been largely peaceful, demanded an end to hunger, saying ulcer has become a common sickness among Nigerians. They queried why the police would shoot at them, having earlier provided security cover for a pro-government group some days ago. While they were earlier dispersed at about 8 a.m., they regrouped again, asking President Bola Tinubu to intervene. However, at about 10:30 a.m., when some journalists were trying to interview some of the protesters, a policeman fired a canister in that direction. While many flee in different directions, a young woman with a baby went straight to the policemen and asked them to kill her and the baby. Effort to identify the woman was not immediately possible as policemen continued to fire tear gas canisters at any civilian within their sight. Before then, a mild drama played out when the Minister of State for Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, arrived the area to address the protesters. Much as he tried to speak, his voice was drowned by the protesters' loud chants of "Hunger Day," disallowing the minister from speaking. After speaking to some of the protesters, describing himself as a comrade who had attended well over 500 protests in the past, the protesters later calmed down to listen. He said he would address the police regarding the shooting of canisters against the protesters. It would, however, appear that his address to the police was not adhered to, following the continued shooting of canisters at protesters. Meanwhile, in Kano, the protesters, who are mostly youth, stormed the entrance of the Kano State Government House, chanting "Bamuyi," which implies "no to bad governance," and "Chanjimu Keso," meaning "we want change." They were seen displaying placards carrying different inscriptions to convey their message of displeasure against bad governance. The protesters were seen marching from different parts of the state towards the State Road down to Government House. Similarly, protests in the support of the government is also taking place. Meanwhile, the pro-Tinubu protesters took over the Audu Bakowe in support of the government. It was gathered that at the Zoo Road area, some protesters attempted to loot shops but were dispersed by security agencies on grounds to avert breakdown of law and order. However, protesters have said the protests would continue unless President Bola Tinubu meets their demands. They called on the president to do the needful and the protest will be immediately called off. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the director of mobilization Take It Back movement, Damilare Adenola, lamented that the operation under the president's leadership had lasted too long. He vowed that protesters would not be intimidated. All over the country, youths are all out protesting against bad governance, while some people are still out there protesting in support of the government. Protest has become the only language the government understands, and Nigerians are all ready for it until their demands are met. Join us after the break as we hear from our correspondents all around the country. Via phone call, we have one of our correspondents, Ruwan Musa Gawu, who is covering the Abuja. Sariwan, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Afternoon to you, Amina.
How
Right
is it?
here at the protest ground, as you can see, live and direct. A lot of people have gone out since from 9 a.m. in the morning from the sports complex in MK Abiola Stadium, front of the gate from around 9 o'clock. They marched straight to the Eagle Square. So getting to the Eagle Square point, there were policemen, police force, military men. Having access to the Eagle Square. So at the protest, they are thrown tear gas around, thrown tear gas to people. I don't know if you want to speak to us. We are live on TV. If you want to speak to us in English, in pidgin, anyone you want to speak, you just tell them your name, and then she will ask you some questions. Yeah. All right. What's her name? Her name is Bobby. She's going to be speaking in pidgin language. So, Amina, you put on hold.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Amina, how now?
Fine, thank you. Can you keep us to speed as to what is happening where you are?
We did, like, there is a kind of secretariat now. They don't let us do it. They don't let us take gas for front of the Supreme Court, that is the road that leads to Supreme Court, that is the road that leads to Villa. They don't throw the gas there everywhere. Some people even fence first. Now, we don't come back now to back of secretariat. Now, there we stay now. Everybody knows, people know free from us. Not nothing that happen for you. Police do everywhere. What you call them, road safety, BIO, civil defense. We don't just understand what they happen. And it's a peaceful protest. We know they fight, we know they kill anybody, we know they kill anybody. They are even the ones threatening us. They won't gather again now. Some people are running around, some people are dancing around. But we are still here because we can't go. You understand? We cannot live here without getting anything from them. You understand? This this Nigeria is a democratic country. We are not in a democratic country. Democracy is supposed to be dialogue, not dictatorship. You can't put words into our mouth. You can't sit and ask us time not to cry. It's becoming something else. We have suffered enough. People are dying. People are crying. So that I went to hospital, one woman, because of 10,000 naira, they couldn't see picture. The woman died because of pressure. She was pregnant. This woman died. A lot of people have been happy. We are following that enough. You understand? So it's high time we take over. It's high time we take over. We're taking enough seats. We're taking enough nonsense from them. We have suffered so much. We don't know what we're going to do. I want to win this. Enough is enough. You understand? Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria is a good country. But our leaders have gone and said so something that we don't know. We don't understand what is happening. Carrying our money to France, taking our money to another place. How can they bring back the money and develop this country? Nigeria is supposed to be better than Dubai. We are supposed to be better. We are supposed to be better than what you call them, France or any other country. But one person is losing the money. What are they gaining? What is their pay? What are they gaining for me? You will die. You won't go with your money. You will die. You won't carry your money to the grave. But you are living the life. Live the life of an example. Tinubu, we are making Tinubu. We are not asking him for much. We are not asking for much. All we want is just see.
Sorry for cutting you short. I want to ask those people that fainted, how have they attended to them?
Yes, they got them to the hospital. Yes, they don't even Barrister Daisy has gone to release one. They arrested one journalist, so he has gone to release the journalist. Now you know Daisy now, the lawyer. He has gone to release the journalist. Now we are still here at the back of the secretariat. At Maraba, a lot of fights and people, a lot of fights broke out there. They fought so much. They are put a lot of people. I don't just know. Everywhere is just so scattered. Now all we just want to see. You work, just money, but you work. Give us. No wahala. You understand? Let there be peace in Nigeria. We are dying. We are tired. We are tired. You get?
So how are the security personnel conducting themselves?
All right. I mean, yes, we still have other people that will be talking. So one after the other, I'll be giving them. So your next question, you can ask. What's your name? Sekulai Suleiman. This is Sekulai Suleiman. He's going to be speaking to you now, so you can ask him the next question.
Mr. Suleiman, good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Suleiman.
Hello, I can hear you.
Please, I want to ask, how are the security personnel conducting themselves where you are?
Hello.
How are the security personnel conducting themselves where you are?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear him. Okay, just ask your question and speak out loud. He can't hear you here because of the noise here.
I said, how are the security personnel conducting themselves?
You see?
How are the security personnel conducting themselves?
You are how?
How are the security personnel conducting themselves?
The security personnel, we are here we come here with peaceful protest, and we are facing, we have the destination that the point that we want to go and reach. So they block the road, and we tell them that this is a peaceful protest, and we have the right and the opportunity to do it in this country. But they are doing target for us since morning today to now. They are doing target, and they are not allowed us to enter that place. That's reaching point that we want to reach to show the government what we want to tell them. So still we are facing the securities, but the security, they are trying to make this protest to become violent because they are using target to target us. But we come here not to make it violent. Because we are come to show the country the challenge we are facing. This country have hunger, starvation, no security, no food. The high cost of living is over in the country. So we are here to tell them so as to get solution.
I
come from Kaduna State, but I'm local government. In my local government, each and every day, the bandits, they are used to kill people. They are used to rape women. And nobody go and face that bandit to say, well, make a solution. That is why I enter motor from Kaduna State, come to Abuja, show the conditions that my people are in Kaduna State. That is why we come to Abuja and tell the government the condition we are.
You came all the way from Kaduna for the protests?
All right, so as you can hear from the background, they are all shouting Bamwai in Hausa language, which signifies we are not doing in English. So right now we are still at the bridge of Finance Bridge, where the protest is still ongoing. Youth are already turning out in mass now, more than the way it was earlier in the morning.
So my final question for you. My final question for you, Sariwan, is: are there counter protests in support of the government? I said, are there counter protests in support of the government at your location?
Yes, there was a counter protest, but presently not in our location. There was a counter protest at the stadium when it actually started. When it actually started in the stadium road, that is at the front of the gate there, 5 buses filled with different youth. Most of them are from their main view. They are like smokers who have actually taken hard drugs. If you see them from their faces, I have to take their pictures with me. I'll be sending them so that you guys would see. They were booked to come and make a protest. But when they saw the number of protesters that came out today, out here in Abuja, there were more than their numbers. 5 luxurious buses, all filled up with youth from different states. Most of them are even more poorer than the way they look. But they came out today to protest against the protesters. So at the moment, they couldn't meet up with the protesters here at the Eagle Square because of the number of protesters who turned out. So at this time, as I'm speaking to you, those ones who came to agitate against the protesters are nowhere to be found at the premises right now as I am talking to you. Now the whole road has been blocked out from the central area down to the gate of the Federal Ministry of Finance, Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Head of Civil Service, and up to the Secretariat, down to all the liaison office around the central area at the moment. Right now, there are some forces that are still in the front of the Eagle Square who are trying to break through to the entrance, but still yet, the police forces are holding them back.
All right, thank you for your time, Sir Ruwan. Make sure you get all the facts and all the necessary things for us.
All right, thank you very much. And please, you guys should have a bed rest for me because I was also blown with a tear gas and I had to sit for like 15 minutes to get myself back up before I do this coverage. Thank you very much and we'll meet in the office.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So that was Ruwan Musa Gawu, our correspondent covering the Abuja protest. Now we'll head on to calling our correspondent, our reporter in Zamfara State, who will be giving us the state of the protest in his location. Join us after the break. My first question to you, sir, is can you keep us to speech as to what is happening where you are?
So, since in the early morning of today's 1st August 2024, as the protesters plan to protest nationwide, so we go around Zamfara State Capital, Gusau. So the protest did not yield any let's say positive result as the protesters wanted to be. There is no any impact on the protest since the participants of the protest, those that participated, are mostly children, almajiris, young ages. So some people decided to close their businesses, and therefore you will see the major road that have went round to the city is almost like empty in the early hours of this morning. You'll see them playing football in the on the road, but and coming down to this afternoon, the protest is becoming, let's say, a little bit and greater since some youth have joined the protest. They mounted government house and stayed there. But despite that, their number is not reasonable as such. The numbers of the protesters are not reasonable as such. They all carry banner, fly cards, and boxes with various inscriptions saying that we are tired of hunger, we need to end bad governance, and we need fuel subsidy to be back, and all sorts of inscriptions that the Protestant tag themselves. So also I joined a team of journalists who went around some local government areas of the state, and whereby we have transpired Bungudu local government area. We check on everything is going on, the normal businesses, even those children that the small protest that we have never seen there. Likewise, Moru, the same thing. Likewise, Maradun, the same case. But we went to Talata Mapara, and despite we see a meager numbers of those children and Almagri and young ages what protesting on the road. Because of their numbers is not reasonable. The cars are moved. The road is movable both sides, but they just went round to the heart of the city of Talata Mapra and went out.
So earlier this morning, the numbers of people that came out for the protest was not okay at all. But as we speak, people are coming out and the streets are becoming busy, and they are storming the government house.
Yes, they stormed the government house, waiting for maybe government response.
And businesses are closed.
For governors to address them. But the unfortunate situation is that the government is not on town. Governor is since yesterday's evening. Likewise, the person that came to condole them, to calm them, is the chief of staff. That's Noura Al-Majid. He tells the protesters to calm down, but there is no any address from the side of the government as at now. And what I am, and as journalists, what we are seeing that does not make this protest to yield, let's say, such impacts that the protesters wanted, is the effort of one of the politicians in the state, because he has sorted out almost all the youth across 140 wards of the state. He engaged them. They are there in his what is called in his hometown, hosting political rally or political gathering. Yeah.
So how are the security personnel?
With that Senator, that's Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar. All the wards. So
how are the security personnel conducting themselves where you are?
Yeah. Hello?
I said, how are the security personnel conducting themselves where you are?
So the security personnel, since last days, they have begun what we call show up posts, but there is no any cause for alarm. Anywhere we have visited and anywhere we have seen, no any security, let's say, confrontation or this thing between the Protestant and the security agents. Even though some of the security, based on the private discussion we have engaged them, they told us that they are in support of the Protestants. Some say they are in support of the Protestants, that they cannot. They are posted to do anything. They say they will not harm the protest. They will not harm the protesters. That's private discussion on them. You understand, between us.
So the securities have refused to come out. The securities have refused to come out because they are in support of the protests.
No, but yes, but they did not say it on camera or this, but as private discussion between we and them. You understand?
Okay.
Yes, we and them. They showed their concern on the hardship, economic hardship, and skyrocketing of the food price, all sorts of that. So we are going to the same market, we are purchasing the same distance with them. That's what they said.
So as we speak now,
in support of if that will yield a positive result for the government to act to put the necessary measures for in alleviating all this suffering, and they are in support of.
So as we speak now, there are no security in sight at your location.
Pardon? Hello?
I said, as we speak now, there are no security personnel in sight at your location.
And nothing as such, nothing that's violent in my location.
But the governor, has he not been aware of the protests? Because they gave us even a month's notice. This has been on the table all this while. Why did the government travel, knowing fully well that August 1st is the day the protests will begin? Why did he leave the state?
No, he is aware of the protests. is aware of the protest. Even yesterday, a day before yesterday, almost 2 sequential days, he hosted an event, and in the government has awarded contracts and also inaugurated Ulama Consultative Forum as at yesterday. But I think, I can't say precisely what is his own decision for leaving the town. Maybe he went on special assignments that he prioritized than the situation. He may think that, or else he may have security, he may have the privilege of having security report that the state will be calm and nothing will happen. And in another way around, we can easily say that the government, since he is from what we call opposition party, is in the opposition party, you understand, we can align as such because the governor is PDP and some of the, let's say, stalwarts of APC attributed the planned protest as a concocted plan of the opposition.
So in his absence, who has attended to the protesters in front of the government house? Who has attended to them? Is anybody coming out to talk to the protesters to calm them?
As at now, nobody attended to them. They were there, standing, reading their placards, and nobody as at now. But we don't know. Maybe as time goes on, maybe or someone from the government side will address them. But at now, there is no any distance from the government side. And
the protest is still peaceful.
Yes, they are still calm. The protest is still calm. The demonstration is still calm. They are calm, seated, some even distant because of the sun.
Are there counter protests in support of the government?
Hello?
Are there counter protests in support of the government, considering the fact that Zamfara State's governor is even a PDP?
No. They are not protesting.
Okay. Nobody is protesting for the administration.
Hello?
I said no group of persons are protesting for the administration. Everyone is protesting against the administration.
Administration of who?
Tinubu.
Tinubu?
Yes, they are all protesting against the Tinubu's administration.
Yes, they are all protesting against Tinubu administration. No any ones that protested in support of Tinubu. They are all protesting against Tinubu administration. You understand? Because what they said, and the pump price, the fuel pump price, yes, there are things called skyrocketing pricing, subsisting hunger, scarlet, insecurity, and farmland are not accessible, and there is no any palliative from the government side. Because even in the State, I think since the issue of that palliative that some states have given to the civil servants in tranches, I think it's only once was given to Zamfara states. It's only once. So since then, it was not being given. Even all sorts of the issue of almost 20 trucks of rice, Zamfara state not had show up, isn't it? And also there is a tradition of distribution of fertilizer to the farmers, and up to now, from the side of the state government, nothing has been shown for that. For now, I know any welfare programs as such, I think so.
All right, thank you very much for joining the program, Abdul Chakwa.
Okay, thank you very
Keep
much.
us updated on any developments or on any new thing that's happening in the states.
Okay, I'll update you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that was our correspondent, Abdul Chakwa from Zamfara State. This will be the size of the program for today, but nonetheless, we'll keep you updated on anything that comes up regarding the August protests. I am Idris Amina. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.